worldwide.
Right. Well, the internet is worldwide, so everyone's going to be able to see this. It's going to be epic. Nice. Okay, I'm recording.
Sweet.
So yeah, what's up?
Another great day in the quarantine.
Right. So yeah, it's April 2020, pandemic. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to talk about that, even though it's like everyone's talking about that, and I don't want to be like cliche,
It's kind
but
of like impossible not to, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I'm actually, it's like snowing where I am, which is really weird. Because I escaped, because I was like living in Mexico and I'm not allowed to go back.
Yeah, I knew that. Where you told me where you were at, but where were you at again?
Well, I don't know if I want everyone to know where I'm just gonna say I'm in a small town in New England with like a few hundred people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where it's snowing, so pretty far north. But yeah, it's been a culture shock. But it's nice because there's like I can go outside and not see a single person. So
I mean, that's cool.
I could still leave my house.
Whenever I walk in, there's always at least a couple people out.
Oh yeah. But is it like a city or I forget, or like a town or where you are?
Yeah, it's like population 13,000 in this town, so it's not very big.
Oh, okay. But that sounds big to me compared to here, but yeah.
Compared to that, yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Not bad enough like New York to have as much effect. After a month, like at first it was like, oh no, I could die by going to work, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not dead yet, so.
Right. But you're, not to out you as having a day job, but you're an essential worker, right? So you actually see the outside world like a lot more than most of us.
Yeah.
So like, what is it like out there? That's my first question, by the way. That's my first official question.
Okay.
I was going to ask you. As a person who leaves his house.
Yeah. To begin with, everyone was going crazy, and I mean, I was fine with it because I wasn't going crazy, but it was interesting to see how everyone was reacting, which was basically just buying up everything.
Oh, right.
And now they're pretty much over that, at least for now. But I mean, it's nice to like go. It's nice to go out and have coworkers and stuff you can talk to and talk about how much your job sucks.
True. Is there like toilet paper now, so people stop buying up like all that?
Anyone who asks, I always tell them to come before 12 because that's like they'll get toilet paper, but it'll sell out.
Oh wow. There was toilet paper here though. And it was in the evening, I feel like.
I guess in like, where you're at, they're not like going hoarding crazy.
There's just no one here to buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were already hoarding it before, like they were crazy wilderness people or something.
That's possible.
Or maybe people just don't use toilet paper everywhere.
They just have leaves.
Yeah, or I don't know. Whatever they're into. Yeah.
Well, so to begin with, the toilet paper was like the crazy thing. Then it moved to like ground beef and like meat. Then it moved to like eggs. Then it moved to like all like chicken, beef, like all the meat. But of course, like the produce section or like the vegan meat, whatever you want to call it, there was plenty of that. But they're like, when you go to get
to try that,
I'll die. Yeah, I'm like, there's other stuff you can eat for like, you're like, come on. But
yeah, that's weird. That would be a good blog post. Like, no one is willing to try vegan meat, even during the apocalypse. Like,
totally.
Like, people will become vegan.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
That's crazy.
I lost my original like questions. I mean, they're somewhere in a notebook.
Oh, you're just gonna wing it? That's
right.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, right before this, I made up some like 10 ones. They're probably not that great, but.
Oh, that's okay. Well, maybe we should explain to the people watching who the how we are and why we're doing this, I guess. Like,
That's actually, yeah, that's normally how people do these things, I think.
right.
That's the smart
Well, I
way.
just wanted to, start having an actual conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm Colette Phair, author extraordinaire, and you are. Wait, who are you
Vincent
again?
Lavious.
What?
Vincent Lavious is how I pronounce
I
it.
feel like I've been mispronouncing that.
People
Okay.
can have their own pronunciation since, it's not real either. Nothing about me is real.
You've got kind of a Tiger King vibe at the moment, I feel like.
Except the dog. He's real. That's the only real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What is your dog's name, by the way?
His name is Harvey Dent.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably see his face at some point in time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's half black, half white.
Oh, cool.
Before the people had named him, what the heck was it? It was something not good. So I was like, no, that's not his name.
Like the people that had him before you?
Yeah, they had him for like a year, and they said he didn't like to eat or was malnourished. But so like if you put food out, he would eat it, no problem. So I think there was just other dogs with him, and they beat him up or whatever.
Oh, that sucks. You saved him.
They're like, no food for you.
Oh, man. He's
But
rescued.
yeah, but it was funny when I got him and drove him to my house, and like right when we got out of the truck, he just ran straight to the door and was like, "Sweet, I'm home." Like he didn't miss those people at all. So
that's so cool.
yeah.
Nice. So I was going to ask about your book. Is it out, or will it be out by the time people see this, or what is going on?
And it's been on Kindle for a long time because I actually like, oh, that'll be easy to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had I technically have it all set up to be printed, just the like back copy of the physical thing I didn't exactly have finalized. I just made
Okay.
stuff up. So I haven't finished that, but there's a lot of things.
Yeah, me too. I'm like putting, like I put out the ebook, and like the paperback is just like, I'm like, I don't want to deal with this, trying to do it yourself at least.
Yeah, like it's it can be way more annoying than it would be preferred.
Yeah. Well, you're like a designer too, right? Like you do art too. Yeah. Like did you do the cover for that? I can't remember if you.
I designed this, but the art I didn't do. I paid a girl to do it, and
Yeah. Okay.
so then this is my fake copy. But maybe I'll just keep it because it's like
Shocking Confessions of Unrepentant Serial Killers. Oh, okay.
it's totally not what the book is, but maybe just like I said, it's all fake.
Can you
probably
use
just
for
keep
false advertising?
What could anyone do? Just get their money back?
Yeah. Could you have a money back guarantee or something?
No refunds.
Yeah.
All sales final. Well,
but no
it's
refund.
sold through Amazon, but I don't know how they do that. But what I kind of wanted to do was do like add some like short story that was this, and make because this doesn't really have a main character or plot or anything, and so what I wrote on the back of that was like something that could actually be a short story that regular people would like, but haven't done that. So
like a normal version of a really weird book.
Yeah, basically just a little short-ish story that theoretically would be associated with the book, but or normal-ish.
I remember Stephen King had like a short story in Tin House that was like a version of whatever book he just had coming out. So he's had like short story versions of books.
What is Tin House?
It's like a literary journal, so it was weird that they had like a genre person, but it's only because it was Stephen King, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
like, but you read it in there, it sounded like very literary. Like the editors made it like the literary version of Stephen King. I felt like so, but it's still, I mean, it was still good. But,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Stephen King could probably get published in like anything he wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool. Well, you're way ahead of me because I don't even have a proof copy. But yeah, the paperback. Hopefully, by the time this is out, people will be out for the re-released Nightmare of Silicon, which is a edited version of the original book. But yeah, I was this week struggling with InDesign as we were talking about, and I don't know. I don't really think it's InDesign. I think it was just me like needing to like know what you need to do to like approach a design project and like kind of sizing, and like I think like last night I just realized I designed the cover at a size that was basically too large for like the book. Basically it's super boring, but like I designed the cover and then I was like, okay, at this cover size, like the book's going to be too short because it's like it was like 6x9 and then it was going to be like 75 pages. So I was like, okay, I have to redo it to be like 5.5 point by 8.5 for it to be like big enough to print spine text on. And like I'm not a designer, so it's like the kind of stuff
Yeah.
that like I've done like design more for like little things here and there, like for like online, but for printing it's just like it's super stressful if you don't like know those kind of things, and it's not creative work. Like knowing that stuff or like implementing that stuff is not like creative, so it's not like the fun part of design. So it's just like I'd recommend anyone who's self-publishing just like get someone to do as like outsource as much as you can. But for me, I was like, there was like the original cover on my book, like a lot of people didn't like and I didn't like, so I was like, I'm going to design the cover myself. I'm going to do exactly what I want, which the creative part of that is easy, but then just like those little details are like a nightmare for some people, including me.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Because I've had a lot of graphics jobs and I worked at a print shop at one time.
Oh, okay.
And even then, I didn't understand what bleed was all about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why does it need a bleed? Like, why don't you just print it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess after working there and maybe the newspaper, like now I know exactly what it's all about. But I mean, it is annoying, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And like I don't know, like if you're getting into like self-publishing more, like I've watched a lot of like YouTube channels for like, or not a lot, but I've watched, there's this guy like self-publishing with Dale that has a lot of good like advice on self-publishing, but it's the kind of stuff like to get into like the nitty-gritty of like what you have to do to physically make a book. Like you're not going to get all of those details in a lot of that stuff. Like you're going to need like a really specific tutorial on like how to use certain software or something. So it's just, there's like a million decisions you have to make.
Yeah, I
like
know.
what you're doing on your own.
Yeah.
So that's my life now.
Yeah, that's what I've been a quote unquote small business owner for like a year or two, but I haven't really done much with it. But
Yeah.
the big thing I know for sure is like mindset is definitely important. And I guess it'd be better off if you were a person, which there's plenty out there that not actually that good, but you just think you're good. You just put out your stuff and I mean, even if your stuff sucks, you'll probably have fans of some sort because I don't know, unless you really, really suck, then you just will fade to oblivion. But yeah, there's plenty of people that aren't that great that have a lot of fans, I've noticed. So
That's a good point.
I guess you just have to like put your stuff out there and go for it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, why not? And like even with traditional publishing, like you have like the opportunity to make more money through self-publishing, like per book, and then just like if you care enough to actually put marketing into it and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my experience.
Even if you have a publisher, they expect you to like, go tour or like, do work to get your stuff
Yeah.
sold because it's yours. But yeah, especially nowadays, it's like I mean, anybody can make a book or
Yeah.
anything at this point, anything, a movie, music, and put it out there, and it's way easier than it was 20 or whatever years ago.
Yeah.
That you just got to do it, basically.
Yeah. Totally. Well, do you have questions? Should we do actual questions? Like, do you have like something you were gonna ask me? I feel like I asked you like a question or two.
Yeah, let's see what my best question.
You're just gonna make it up right now, aren't you?
No, I mean that was an idea of doing, but I'm like, it's probably better to at least write some stuff. This was mine. That I mean, I asked somebody else this question, and they were like, "Hell no!" But uh, but it fits in with your book, which is, would you download your consciousness into a robot body if you could?
Oh, no. Immediately my answer, like my first answer is no. I mean, in my book, she does that because she'll die otherwise, so it's kind of a good incentive. But if I think of it as just like, oh, would I do that for fun? Like, no. I mean, my book is kind of dystopian. It shows like why that wouldn't be such a great idea, or like the sort of weirdness of like adjusting to a new physical environment and like that wasn't meant for you. So no, I don't think so. I'm really into like, I mean, I don't even like have tattoos because I'm like afraid that like the ink is gonna like be toxic, or like I don't know, I'm very into just like natural like biological like existence. Like no, I don't think I need to do any of that stuff if I can avoid it.
I would totally do it. I think
You
because
would?
yeah,
Have you read my book? Was it
yeah. I mean, I read it, and it didn't necessarily work out so great for her. I think, but I mean,
Yeah,
it just depends, really.
true. Can you think of a story where that ended, like a sci-fi story about a robot that ended well? I guess like the AI, like the film AI, like the Kubrick version would have been like the kid dies at the end, but then like the Spielberg version was like a happy ending. So maybe that was like a happy, I don't know, robot story ending. But I think a lot of them are more like dystopian. I don't know. I've been out of the loop for a while though. I don't watch a ton of sci-fi movies or read a ton of sci-fi books right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends. Like in my imaginary bullshit thing, like you have like this super like beautiful or hot like robot body, and then
Oh.
like you just put out a book or anything, people are like, oh, I love that. Like then you really could just put out total trash, and at least in my mind, like that's how
If you were a robot.
it would work. Yeah,
Yeah. I hadn't thought of that angle, but yeah, maybe could happen.
but then I guess then it could be to put the twist on it. Then like, okay, you get all the money and all the fame or whatever it is you're trying to get out of it, and then it's like then life sucks because it's too easy or boring or something. Yeah, like
That's like when people win the Olympics, they say they get depressed sometimes because they don't have anything else to like work towards. So
yeah,
maybe.
or supposedly if you win the lotto, then you always have problems. Or
Yeah, that's weird.
the guy who originally made the game Minecraft after he sold it to, I guess, Microsoft,
Mm.
he obviously was rich, but so he supposedly got super depressed because he couldn't hang out with anybody that he could relate to because he was, you know, super rich. But I
Yeah.
never understood why he couldn't just act like he was poor then, or go work a normal job then and just do that if
Yeah. I was just thinking about that actually, because I'm always like, yeah, like it's lonely at the top kind of thing. Like, or there's all these blogs about like how to ditch your toxic friends to have a successful life, and like how like certain friends will hold you back, and you can't like you can't have certain kinds of people in your life like if you want to be successful, which is like feel like kind of a, I don't know, that's more like before you're rich. I guess maybe once you're rich you could be like, yeah, hey, like I'm already rich, like it's not going to make me poor to hang out with a bunch of poor people. But I don't know, maybe it will, because then they're going to keep borrowing money from you. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I guess it depends how toxic they are, but I mean, if you're rich enough, you could just have someone kill them.
your own friends.
Yeah, if if it was like
Yeah.
that bad of a friend, or just have bodyguards that just block the door when they come. Like, no.
That sounds like I saw like a Michael Jackson movie about like his life and how like kind of lonely it was, and then like at the end it's just like him and his bodyguard, and like no one else is there, and it's like he's not allowed to go anywhere because like everyone recognizes him, and his bodyguard's like, no, you can't have friends or like access to the outside world. That's like, again, like just
I'm
like the
sure
dark
that
side of
was the
success.
case. Yeah, except for the little kids that got to sleep with him, I guess.
Right. Well, that was before. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak on that, but yeah.
Before he got to that stage.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I should ask you about hmm. I don't know. Well, I was gonna ask you about because you do like visual art and also like writing, like if one or the other is like more important to you, or like more, it seems like you're very focused on like visual art, and I was just wondering like if you're more like inspired by that, or like written word, or which you're kind of more like attached to.
I guess I'm theoretically more into visual art, but
Mm.
uh, when I was younger, at least, what I did wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, and
Okay.
now it's closer to how I wanted it to be,
That's
or
good.
want it to be. But I mean, I still like writing, but I haven't done as much lately. Or yeah, that's the easiest way to put it. But
Yeah.
I what I want to do now is like a visual novel, like
Oh,
video
okay.
game thing, which would be combine both. And I've started some of that, but I need to do more with it, basically.
That's cool. What do you have already like a concept for like a graphic novel?
Yeah, I mean, I have here's my other thing that's uh, also
It just says "fuck you" on the cover.
yeah,
What is Sleepless Shadows? Cool.
and I was intending to do like a pin. I wanted to just do a Kickstarter pin, and it would just have him. His name's Junk Burger, and saying "fuck you" because I guess people like pins. And let's see, what's a decent enough. Like this is how I did the
Oh,
art
cool.
for this,
I like
uh,
that.
but then I started doing. Oh, I got it. Then I started doing it a little bit different. What?
I can't tell the difference on.
Oh,
It looks like bigger images. Like notice.
I got you. Basically, the backgrounds are more like what do you call it? Impressionist art.
Oh, like softer
Yeah,
looking kind of.
where before it was just flat, at least on like those panels and stuff.
What is he saying in that panel?
The "I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker."
Oh, okay. Now it makes me want to
Yeah,
read it. Just having that one line, like what happened before and after that, like that's a good
yeah.
start.
I needed to finish that, and I had got got some like this dude I guess was published in like Heavy Metal magazine and
Oh yeah.
Ben Temple Smith is like a pretty popular like comics guy.
What was the second one?
Who was he? Or what was?
I didn't hear the second
Oh,
thing.
Ben Temple Smith. He's
Oh.
a comics artist.
Oh,
Cool. I got this other thing that I did, which was supposed to be like, because somebody's a coloring book, so I just did like witches.
That's cool.
Book, the modern witch coloring sketchbook. But another thing I wanted to change it up a little before I actually printed it. But so theoretically, at this point, I'm like, I need to finish all these things and then like kickstart them or whatever would be a sensible way to put it out, I guess. Nowadays.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, I totally relate because I've had books like, because after this re-release, like I want to publish the first book I ever wrote, which has been sitting in a drawer for, I don't want to say like how many years. And it's like, because I was trying to get a regular publisher, and when I couldn't, I just like gave up on it. And then since then, I mean, even then like self-publishing was a thing, but now it's become so much more accepted and less stigmatized, and like people are actually making money off of it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put out like everything I've done. And even if it's not, even if it's not as great, or if I need to rewrite it or whatever, like I want to have it out, because that was like years of my life focusing on some of those projects. So
yeah, definitely. And I mean, you might as well, because why not?
Yeah, Chuck Palahniuk's first book like wasn't published, but that like after he wrote Fight Club, he ended up releasing, which I can't remember which one that was, but yeah, it was like he couldn't find a publisher, and then he wrote Fight Club as like his fuck you book or whatever, and then everyone, surprisingly, like everyone loved it, and then he was able to publish like whatever.
yeah, that's funny. I could believe that. I haven't read much of his stuff. I've read Fight Club, obviously, because who hasn't? But then he also put out in comics, they did a Fight Club 2 and a Fight Club 3, and they're like way out there compared to Fight Club. But and I was to begin with, I liked Fight Club 2, but then it goes like super like postmodern, and then I wasn't into it towards the end. But then I'm like, I'll get 3 because why not? And I like 3 a lot more, but it's probably theoretically like it's also pretty out there. But
that was by like Chuck Palahniuk, or it was like
yeah, no, he wrote it. Somebody else drew it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Weird. Have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, ask me another question.
Here's my other one that I like.
Okay.
Should the USA get an AI president?
It would probably be better than what we have now. So, I mean, I'd be open to it.
I mean, it would. My doc would be better than what we got now, but
like, yeah, I mean, just put anyone in there at this point. No, I guess with an AI, at least you would know why they have no empathy. Like with a human being, you expect empathy, and like when you have a psychopath in office, like you're not gonna have that. But like, and you're not gonna have it with an AI either. But at least maybe if like a human being who had empathy designed it, they could like design it to not be evil. So like,
yeah, they could tweak it, or at least maybe. I feel like you could program it better than a person who only cares about rich people or whatever.
Yeah, I'm kind of writing about, so I forget if I mentioned to you before, I like got the idea to write a sequel of Nightmare at Silicon that I started working on, and it's kind of, it does relate to that of like how to program people to like be empathetic. So that's like one thing I've been thinking about, like, because I'm kind of obsessed also with like psychopaths and like psychology, like reading about like all the different ways people are fucked up and like all these like how to spot like this kind of person or like how to deal with this kind of person types of blogs and whatnot. So
Yeah.
um,
Have you read The Psychopath Test?
I feel like I read at least some of that. Was that, I don't know, which one was that? Like that I feel like I might have seen like a TED talk with that guy. Did he have like an accent? Was he from like New Zealand or something? Or he had some kind of like cool accent?
Probably. I only read the book, but I
Like,
feel like he was maybe from England or somewhere. Yeah.
because I read so many of those books, but like I remember I thought maybe it was that one. It was like, yeah, a guy who like kind of just became like an expert in psychopaths and like is a person that developed like the test for how to tell if you're a psychopath, basically.
I don't know if he specifically did that, but it had a lot of like theory to do with that and like
Mm-hmm.
sort of studies with like crazy people basically in asylums or whatever. That I mean, it was a good book. I don't know what made me read it. I mean, maybe just the title was good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty much addicted to all that stuff and true crime.
That's what I was gonna say. True crime, probably.
Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get like I did an interview like a written interview like this week with like this feminist sci-fi place, and they were like, what are the big up and coming like feminist sci-fi books? And I was like, I don't know, all I'm reading is like just like stuff about people killing each other and like weird just like dark like crime stuff. And like I don't know, I never like read the stuff that I write. Like I don't know, like maybe I should like be more aware of like for market research just like what's coming out or whatever, but I'm just like, no, I just want to read the kind of stuff that I'm never actually going to write. It's just like my escape from like.
Yeah. Well, that's how a lot of musicians are. Like, I mean, like.
Oh really?
Yeah, at least to my understanding, maybe not a lot, but at least definitely some. Like, I know, like Al Jurgensen of Ministry, like he doesn't listen to like industrial music. I'm pretty sure he listens to like country or whatever he listens to.
He lives in the country.
Yeah, I just know he doesn't particularly listen to industrial music, so it makes sense to me at least.
Yeah, I used to be obsessed with like being original until I found out that like people don't actually want originality. So I'm like, I don't know, people want like something that's familiar enough to them that they can like accept it, but just like different enough that they can like be entertained or whatever. Like I read this book, Hitmakers, about that, like people like basically like why certain things become famous or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
just being original is not like the most important part. I feel like.
yeah, that makes sense. At least like I sent my book to different people or friends or whatever to get a blurb or something from it. A lot of them definitely didn't get far in it. I can tell. They definitely didn't like it, but
Because it's too different.
yeah, but I'm like, they probably wouldn't like William Burroughs or whoever that I was really into when I wrote it. But then theoretically, a lot of people probably aren't into his stuff anyway. So
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that. I just was like, in my mind when I was writing it was to like make it a normal story, but that's not how it worked out.
You're like, this is what normal looks like, and everyone's like, no, Vincent.
Yeah, this is my normal. Yeah, basically, that I guess was the deal. So like, to me, I don't know if it would be different now, or like maybe I would try harder to make a more normal narrative.
Your whole thing, I love your whole thing of like, I'm trying to be normal. Like, I'm gonna take this super weird, unique, beautiful work of art and turn it into just like something
Just
anyone would like pick up.
Something mediocre. Yeah. and that's how you make money.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, I don't know. I went through that too, because the reason I brought up like originality is just like from not reading, like, because I was like, I don't want to read like, if I read the stuff that like is like the stuff I'm writing or in my genre or whatever, like I'm going to copy them. Or I was just like really afraid I was going to copy other people and I wanted to be original.
Yeah.
But I did end up copying like movies I would see or other things. So that can still happen, but unless you're actually living in like under a rock. But I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, don't try to be normal. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not your brand.
I pretty much have not been able to do that. I dislike working in public so much the way I have lately. I at least have understood a little bit better. Like, oh, so that's why 10 years ago or however long, that's why somebody didn't like what I said, because that's totally crazy that I would say that to. But
Human contact is
yeah,
something.
now like oh, now I at least I'm not surprised when people don't like certain things I say. Like, oh, they're definitely not gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I felt like maybe like growing up where I did like in the Cleveland area, like people were really sarcastic, and then I moved to California, and like sarcasm just like not really okay there, and people are super PC, so like it's very easy to offend anybody. So I became much more like, yeah, I don't know, palatable in terms of like much more sensitive to those kinds of things that like, oh yeah, I can't make this like really morbid joke in front of these people. But then
anyway.
what certain people I would meet and I'd be like, oh, I really like you. I'm gonna make like a super dark gallows humor like joke and just like see whether you can accept like the real me or whatever. And I'm not sure if they did or not, but they didn't shame me for it at least as much. So that was good. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Here was one of my questions. Do you
Yeah.
miss Cleveland?
Not particularly. I mean, I've been back to visit pretty rarely, but it's kind of nice. I mean, I like the Rust Belt in terms of like the dead, abandoned like factories and like the just the milieu of that kind of thing, and like seeing old friends and whatnot, and like the way people are really down to earth there. Um, yeah, it's a very particular kind of place, but it's also a very negative place. Like, and that's kind of just how I grew up too. Like, just like bitching is how you relate to people, kind of thing. Which I don't know, because if that has anything to do with like the Eastern European or Russian influence, like those areas where just like people went through really hard times and then they just learned like just had to complain all the time. So yeah. But when I talk to people from Cleveland, it's just like I go back to that language of like, okay, we're just gonna like complain about our lives and like focus on all the negative stuff now. And like I wouldn't want to be around that all the time, like because it would just make me a more negative person again. So yeah, I have to keep it to just the occasional visit now.
Yeah, that I figured not, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I could have just said no too, but I wanted to sound like I knew what I was talking
That's
about.
that's no fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
but you
never been
moved.
to Cleveland, so I don't know. That makes me. I'm
Every time I've met someone that's been there, I'm like, why were you there? Like, that's weird to just like visit and like, I don't know.
Make it
But
sound
no,
like
it's not such a bad place like to. I mean, when I go, I'm like, oh wow, it's kind of becoming cool. It's like they turned like the old warehouses into like trendy apartments and stuff like that, and like there's some cool stuff. There's like a goth bar there that's been there like since I was like a teenager. It's like the one dedicated goth bar. It's called the Chamber. And then I lived in San Francisco, and I don't think they even had like just one place like that was just like a goth bar. They would just have like goth nights at different
oh yeah,
places
yeah.
or whatever. So that was kind of interesting. Like, is Cleveland more goth than San Francisco? Like, yeah, it probably is. So if that's what you're going for.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a place. It's sort of like I would call it more like a heavy metal bar in New Orleans, called the Dungeon. That you gotta like. It's whatnot, but yeah, it's. I think it's cool because there's just like regular bars
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's good to have a place where weird people can go to feel less weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about that too with like cuz my partner and I've lived in different areas and like we were living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where I'm now not allowed to return to until the borders reopen. But and we lived in Madrid for about a year and it was like I don't know. That you also have the feeling like of being a foreigner of like not fitting in and like not just like being weird all over again like not
Yeah,
like the way I felt when I was kind of growing up like and once again you kind of like you don't belong there if you don't speak the language perfectly or like you're white or whatever and like you stand out and then it's like so I'm just like remembering that like having to try to fit into a place where you don't fit in or whatever.
back to high school.
Yeah, well going to grad school felt like going back to high school for sure, like yeah.
One of my questions was, what is your favorite country?
That feels like a weird like I guess I'd have to say Norway. I've been obsessed with moving to Scandinavia for quite a while and I spent like 3 months because that's like the legal limit in Europe in like 2015, and I spent at least a month of that in Norway, in Oslo and Bergen. I've also visited Tromsø, which is in the far north. That's where like it'll be dark like half the year, and then like 24-hour light in the summer and stuff like that. So I don't know. I like their democratic socialism, the fact that they take care of all their people, and then
That's what I was like. Their
yeah,
politics are like awesome. Yeah, I've looked into that and like theoretically, been like that'd be a place I would much rather live than here for sure.
yeah, yeah. They have a super high standard of living, and the government gives people free heroin. Like they were giving free heroin, not even just needles, like just I mean, they are super rich from like the oil, but I don't know if it was like to reduce like the crime that would happen from drug addicts that would have to steal or like commit crimes otherwise. I'm not sure exactly what their motivation was, but
Or
like
yeah, yeah.
something like that. But like the Scandinavian countries, I read a book called The Nordic Theory of Everything that talked about how like they see like not just their own families but like strangers and society like in general as their responsibility because like especially children because the way that you raise them will affect like how the society will like be formed and like that will end up affecting you and your family as well if there is crime or if there are people that are suffering and that kind of thing so
Yeah, that I didn't think about that, but that makes sense because how they become in the future is how the society's going to be uh, work out. Yeah.
yeah but we're in the US now we're all just like fuck everyone like look out for number one that's it and it's just not really my thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's only good for like, whatever, 1 or 10 or less percent of people.
1%. Yeah.
Then there's a like, I don't know, there's probably like 60 or 80% that are like, yeah, this is a great idea. This is good, even though they have nothing. There's no reason they should actually think like that. They're just brainwashed, basically. Or
Yeah.
they just think they'll be really rich one day, but they won't, most likely.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's weird. Like I could say a lot about that. Like I feel like I've become like as I've had access to like more money or privilege like or like going to graduate school with a bunch of privileged people or like some of my experiences like I've become a little less understanding of like or less empathetic towards certain people and then I feel like or maybe more judgmental or that kind of thing and that sort of Republican mindset like I can kind of see like their side a little more or people that are also libertarians people that are just like I work so hard and that person over there like isn't working so like why should I give them welfare or whatever that kind of thing like I guess I've been exposed to like more people or like working also with like a nonpartisan political group and like talking to people like that but it's also like I don't know for myself even like when I feel judgmental or of other people. Like, it's not a good feeling. Like, I don't benefit from that personally. Like, if I get angry or I'm like, those people over there are like, aren't doing enough or whatever. Like, when I feel like that, it's just like, for me, even, it's just like toxic. I don't want to feel like that or be that person. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
sitting there, like, I don't know. It's like a certain kind of mindset you have to get into. And it's not, even for yourself, like, it's not a good mindset to be in. I don't think it's not like a healthy place to be.
Yeah. Well, and working with the public like how I do, and I see the people that are on welfare or whatever, and I'm like, you sure they don't want to like be like this? That's just what their circumstances are. It's not like I know for sure there's people that think it's just black people or whatever, but I'm like, there's plenty of white people that are using EBT that like at least an equal amount. So it's not like people are. I think in general it's not like people are like, oh, I just want to be lazy and get free stuff. They're just like they can't get a good enough job or whatever, that the way things are set up, and if they can't be educated also, like, then yeah, like, what are they gonna do, really?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't even blame people that are like, hey, I want to be lazy and not work. Like, I think we should have UBI, and like, you know, not working or being able to work on your own artistic projects or things like that should be an option, like, for people that don't want to be struggling and working hard as well. But yeah, even like, it's a struggle when you are trying that hard and you're facing institutional racism and all those kinds of things, or you've been to prison and then you can't get a job ever again because it's on your record and all those kinds of things. Like, I don't know, people aren't always thinking about all of those situations that they haven't experienced themselves or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
and
definitely,
it's especially what's going on now, like with the pandemic. It's weird for people to be still like, you would think that people would develop more empathy around like, okay, like, a lot of people have lost their jobs, like they had no control over that. So I mean, yeah, we're getting like tiny scraps of like kind of UBI, or at least for the people that make under a certain amount through like the stimulus package, but which is a start. But
yeah, most of it's towards businesses, or Wall Street or whatever, which is basically businesses. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think the same, that there should be like uh, a universal basic income, and then it's like, okay, if you really want to be rich, or you do whatever, then you'll develop ways to make money and stuff. But if you're, you know, if you're just fucked at the bottom, like, what are you gonna do? Even if you work super hard, like, whatever company, mega corporation you work for is going to get most of the money, or the CEOs or whatever, the managers or district managers or whatever, store managers.
mm-hmm.
Your work's going pretty much to pay them more than yourself. So it's not like, oh, maybe 50 or however many years ago, it used to be like you work hard and you get something out of it, but it's definitely not necessarily like that now.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I have one more question for you to change topics, because I saw you posting Tiger King memes and I just started watching it. So I have to know your opinion. Did Carol Baskin kill her husband and feed it to tigers?
I mean, I don't know if that's how she did it, or she knows what happened to him.
I mean, I don't know how much you've watched, by the way. I've seen the first episode, so I don't know if you're at the point where they've answered that or not. So
No, it mostly only talks about that in that first one or two. I've watched them all now, but I mean, she definitely. There was like maybe 3 theories of what happened. One was like that he fell off or pushed off or something, a plane into the ocean, or tigers ate him, or something about his body in the sewage thing.
yeah.
But I mean, she definitely knows he's dead and how it was done, but
She definitely knows how he died. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I think. Because she had rewrote the will or whatever to say like if he disappears then this, and like nobody would just put that.
Yeah, I didn't get to that part either. For people who haven't seen this at all, this is like a woman who is basically running a nature preserve for tigers, but like attacking this guy who's running a zoo for tigers because she says it's something different. But it's like it kind of seems like she's doing the same thing, like she's keeping tigers in cages or whatever.
Basically,
And she's kind of creepy. I don't know. I got psychopath vibes from her personally. As soon as she seems kind of emotionless or whatever, but I haven't watched that much, so.
yeah, she doesn't seem right in the head. But basically, everyone in the show is like kind of a scumbag, or that's the way I considered it. Whether or not it's just which scumbags do you like better.
Yeah, it's kind of like because it's good because it's an election year because that's kind of how you decide like, okay, you've got these two scumbags against each other, like pick one, and you're like, how do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, especially when they're practically the same or not that dissimilar. But I
Yeah,
guess such is life at the moment.
unfortunately, yes, it is life, our life.
Maybe you can run for president.
It sounds very stressful. I need like a decent amount of sleep too. I almost worked on the Bernie Sanders campaign. I like did an exercise for a job there, marketing job, and I didn't end up getting it. But I started reading about campaigners, and even they work like, or they sleep like 4 hours a night or something, which I just can't really live like that. I don't understand it at all. Like, I mean, if like, yeah, it's like a temporary amount of time in your life or whatever, but I feel like when you're in politics, you're just like never sleeping.
I don't know that most of them, at least the presidents, play golf a lot. So,
They play golf.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you didn't sleep, why are you playing golf?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't, but definitely, I know what you're talking about. The certain people definitely work like that, but yeah, I couldn't do that either.
Maybe that's why they're all old now because like old people don't need as much sleep too.
I thought, well, I don't know. I thought old people needed more sleep, but it really, I guess, depends.
But they all get up really early and like walk around the mall.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that their biological clock has like fixed itself to like sleep at night and.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen for me, but we'll see. Maybe when I'm old, I'll finally be like really productive. That's when my career will really take off when I retire.
It's possible. No telling. I don't know why the options for president have to only be like 70 or 80 or something. It's like somebody that's like 40 or 50 even sounds young that you could like prop up.
Yeah, it's weird because Obama was in his 40s and then we went back to like old white dudes pretty quickly there.
Yeah, well, at least to my understanding from where I live, a lot of people like hated Obama or whatever, but I'm like, what exactly did he do that was so bad? And at least he can read books and
stuff. Yeah, the bar is pretty low for that now. Yeah, I mean, people talk about like him not closing Guantanamo and like still waging wars under his administration, like
yeah, that was
potentially more than
disappointing, but
yeah,
there's definitely worse as seen now.
Yeah, but at least there's still at the local level, like you can still make a difference in like, I don't know, even just like supporting NGOs and things. Like it's not just whoever's president, like there's a lot more going on. Like our country focuses almost too much on like the presidential election and then like ignores, I feel like, a lot of other elements of politics and social justice. So, But we are in an election year, so we had to. So we've talked about the election. We talked about COVID-19, and briefly about our books. So I feel like we've covered the important stuff. What do you think? Oh, we talked about Tiger King as well. So we've got all like the required topics.
Yeah, as far as I know, basically, yeah.
Did I forget anything? How's your dog doing?
He's great. Look.
He's a hi. Wow, what a cute little face. Hi. That's a pretty cool color situation.
Yeah, I think my other questions are relatively not that great.
Yeah, I was like, unless we can wrap up, unless you have any burning questions, which you can also text me in the middle of the night, but not all these people aren't going to know then. So
addendum.
Might be for the best.
Yeah, maybe if I find that notebook that had the other questions, I can send it.
Now I'm so interested to know what's in there.
Yeah, the dark interview.
Yeah. You trying to be normal.
I'll find it eventually. No, the other ones were like not trying to be normal. These ones here are relatively normal.
Okay. Well, maybe next interview we can have like the weird stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Part 2.
When you put out the sequel to Nightmare in Silicon. Or
true, yes, that might be a while, but yeah.
1.5, yeah, that's what I'm like. That might be like.
You're like 20 years from now. No, it's not gonna be that long. It's not gonna be as long.
Got a walker.
Oh my God, no. But I might do a part 3 then in another 15 years.
Well,
I'm not going to be in a walker in 15 or 20 years.
I hope not. Yeah, but I mean, it's more. It sounds better to say I'm in a walker than.
Yeah. Right.
How about like in a mecha?
I don't even know what that is.
Like a machine that, is a person is inside of like a robot.
You really want me to be inside of a robot body? It's not going to happen.
Oh, I meant me more than you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could do it.
We can get to that stage.
Well, once we're cryogenically frozen and thawed out, then we'll be ready for the next one.
I guess, yeah, year 3000.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you for talking.
Thank you.
About your inner demons.
Of course.
And
I'm working on getting more.
More demons. Okay, cool. Well, let me know how it goes.
For sure.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.